I'm Matt Stash.
And I'm Rita and
Welcome to Beereviews, where we review beers in a way that you can understand. And tonight we have our special guest, Mr. Revell of Revell's Roman Candles, for our very first episode.
Great to be here, thank you.
Excellent, glad to have you here. So, we're starting out tonight with Natty Green's Wildflower Belgian-style wit beer. So let's go ahead and crack this open. We're all going to take samples and we're going to talk about it.
It's got a really pretty label.
It's got a great label. So, pour a little bit there.
I was gonna mock you if you poured it terribly.
Oh, I've learned how to pour a beer over the years.
So, I would say it's filtered. It's pretty clear.
And,
it's not cloudy like a lot of beers these days.
Yeah?
Yep.
Which is odd for a wit beer. You'd think that it would be... Can I just say wheat beer? Is it okay to say that?
You can. A wit is just a word for wheat.
A wit is a word for wheat.
Yep. Quick, you've lost your glass already.
I've lost my glass
already.
already.
We haven't had any beers yet.
Well, but I've had a couple of cocktails.
We did have one beer.
Let's go ahead and I'll distribute a little bit more.
Top it off.
Top those beers off.
Alrighty.
So we have everybody has a little beer to drink.
A lot of beer to drink.
A lot of beer to drink.
We have a lot of beer to review.
All right, so let's get started, kids.
Okay. That's delicious.
It's drinkable. What do you think, though, Gray?
It's got a light flavor to it. It's not a...
Wheat beers are really good for summer. They often have citrusy sort of flavors to them. That's why they're served with orange. I like this one a lot. It's a little bit lighter than a Blue Moon or your typical wheat beer that you'll find on draft.
The thing for me with wheat beers is a lot of times they have that extra kind of mouthy quality to them. I almost feel like you can taste a slice of bread in them sometimes. This one is actually pretty mild as far as that sort of bready kind of weird mouthy quality. It's a little crisper.
It doesn't have a strong aftertaste. The aftertaste, I'm just picking up citrus kind of orange flavor.
Are you tasting anything that's special there, Greg?
No, it's definitely got a there's kind of a citrus kind of deal going on. It's kind of like a Blue Moon almost. Yeah,
but still, I'd say nice and mild, almost a
mild,
little, almost like a lagery taste. It doesn't. You're not. What does the label say there, Rita?
A light-bodied ale brewed with spices and sweet orange peel.
Okay. Now, why is it wildflower? Does it say anything about wildflower in the explanation?
According to the Surgeon General, women should not drink alcoholic beverages during pregnancy because of the risk of birth defects. No, it does not say anything about wildflower.
Does not say anything about wildflower, but...
it does have for ingredients: water, malted barley, malted wheat, oats, hops, yeast, orange peel, coriander, and chamomile. Which is a little more than your average beer. Okay.
Well, now, Gray, as our special guest here today, you've got an interesting project that you've just completed. I'll just drag right into that while we drink our beer, since we've already talked about what the beer tastes like. You've
I
completed.
could chug this.
Yeah, well, I could too. You've just completed a project called the Happy Infinite. What is the Happy Infinite all about? What was this project?
The Happy Infinite was a project that me and the band got together to do at the beginning of the year, where we wrote and recorded a new song every month for the entire year of 2014. A new song every month for every month of the year of 2014. And that doesn't sound unfamiliar to me because I was involved in the project. I'm of course Gray's keyboard player, so this is a bit of a. This is not even as unethical as payola. This is absolute nepotism happening right now. This is so we invited Gray because we're hanging out. So
he was here.
I was here. Yeah.
And I thought, it's a great idea to have a special guest every time. But yeah, so you just put out. We just finished the last EP a few weeks ago, and all 3 volumes are already available on all the aggregators and iTunes, Amazon,
It's
Spotify. Yeah, so if you do want to hear the recordings, you can search for Revell's Roman Candles or the Happy Infinite on any of the major online music retailers. You're done with that beer there.
I'm done with this beer.
Okay, hang on.
I would like to say thank you to Natty Greens of Greensboro, just a couple miles away.
Oh, Greensboro, that's a semi-local beer.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I know it now.
You know it now.
Gray is not, of course, a habitual beer drinker. He's more of a margarita mojito kind of person.
Yeah. I'm
Occasionally
not
a
really,
Corona.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not really a big, chugger. Not a big chugger of the brew here.
Chugger of the brew.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and preview. The next one we have is from Saranac. It's the Long John Lager. It's a winter lager. Crack it open and I'll read more about the label.
Where did I put that first bottle cap? Oh, it's down here. Oh, almost got it.
You put it in the thing. Oh, God.
All right, so this is, as far as this beer reviews things go, it's sort of an experimental process.
It is experimental.
So we're sort of, we're not sure how casual we're going to be with our subsequent episodes. It is kind of a dark-looking thing. We didn't do anything fancy like
Swill the beers.
or rinse.
Give me a little bit.
Yeah. No, we didn't rinse
just
the
a little
cups.
bit left.
There you go.
That right in there.
Okay.
That's ready.
Okay,
Let me have this.
Yeah, that's good. So tell us about this Saranac. What is it we're drinking?
Long John Lager.
Long John Lager. It's their winter lager?
It is. Long John Lager is a robust yet easygoing dunkel lager. The caramelized malty sweetness is nicely balanced by a toasted nuttiness that'll surely light up your taste buds on a winter's day.
Oh, lighting up my taste buds on a winter's day. That sounds good.
It's got IBUs listed.
Yeah, and that's the thing we're going to talk about is to make a beer review in terms that you can understand as a casual beer drinker. We're not all about craft beer. We're not all about cheap beer. We're not cliquish when it comes to that.
We span the breadth of beers.
Like, for example, what's your favorite beer?
Whoa, hold up. Right now, or just ever?
Ever.
That's a really tough question.
Well, so what style of beer do you like the best?
I definitely like wheat beers.
Okay,
I'm a
sure.
big wheat beer drinker.
Right.
I mean, it's your first introduction into beers when you're
Sure.
getting there.
What do you go to? I think you mentioned this the other day. Your go-to is
help me out. What?
whatever's cheap, right? You
Oh,
said
that's
that.
true.
Yeah.
That's true. I will drink any $2 beer.
Yeah. I'm not a beer snob at all. I think Gray can attest to that. I'm a snob about a bunch of stuff. I'm pretentious as hell, but I'm not the sort of person that's going to say, well, if you're not drinking a real beer, I'm not going to drink a real beer. And you'll see that in our lightning round at the end of this episode.
Yep.
So, and Gray's going to participate because I think his witty banter will definitely
lighten it up.
that. Yeah, it'll be great.
Now, Saranac here does suggest they do have their IBUs.
Mm-hmm.
They have the alcohol by volume.
What is an IBU, anyways?
I don't know. I really don't know. I think it tells you how much it tastes like ass.
Well, an IBU is technically, and I get to use the word technically, because when you're correct, technically correct is the best kind of correct, but IBU is an international bitterness unit, I believe, or as something that starts with an I. International sounds good. Bitterness unit, it's how...
Irritable?
Irritable bitterness unit. It's how bitter the beer is, and that's usually due to the hops and the content of the hops. And of course, there's become a trend, I almost want to say a fad.
International bittering units.
Bittering unit. Bittering. There's almost a trend now in craft beer to see how many or how
hipsters, like
hops. Yes.
Yep.
How much hoppiness you can get into a beer. And
the trend these days is a bunch of IPAs. God love, IPAs. Not a big fan of IPAs. They're high in IBUs.
Yeah, and so you can generally tell by the IBUs of a beer how much you're going to taste that floral hoppiness, and that floral hoppiness sort of translates to a bitterness, in my opinion.
But Matt,
yeah, what?
We haven't discussed this beer at all.
Not at all.
I'm almost done with it.
Oh, you already taken a sip? Hang on.
I've taken several sips. Jesus, you're bad at this.
Now,
I can definitely taste the caramel.
Yeah.
Caramelized something or other.
It's a little
it's a little dark. It's a little heavy.
It has a little mouthiness to it. It's a little coppery, is the way I like to describe a beer like this. I know that
dark and heavy is the word for it.
Dark and heavy.
Yeah. Dark and heavy.
Yeah.
Okay,
the way I like my women.
Lovely. For me,
Ray's about to finish his beer.
Knocking it back. For me, a beer like this, it does taste a little lagery because it is technically a lager.
It is a lager.
Lagers tend to be crisp and refreshing.
It says so much lager on the. It says Long John Lager Winter Lager.
It says it twice.
It says it twice.
It means business.
It does.
The thing about lagers is they tend to be a little bit more crisp, a little more pure, and a little more refreshing than an ale. And until, I guess maybe a couple of years ago, I really thought that a lager is the only thing you could possibly drink during the summer until I really started getting into IPAs. And I said, okay, yeah, I can see how you could drink an IPA in the summer. I always thought of ales as like a nourishing, filling kind of beer that you drink during the winter. But yeah, this part, and so I thought, winter lager. That's a crazy concept. Winter lager. Why would you have a lager in the winter? But yeah, I can see this a little bit mouthy.
Sam Adams makes lagers for all the year.
They make a summer ale, which I always thought was silly. All right, so we're on our third and last.
Now this is a winter seasonal. Special ale for the holidays. Celebration IPA. Features the first hops of the growing season. The pioneering ale is full of complex flavors and aromas from the generous use of whole cone American hops. This is from Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada, best known for their Sierra Nevada Pale Ale in the green label. They do have some other seasonals. I had a delicious spiced stout earlier this year from them. I've heard that their chocolate stout is pretty good. The narwhals, I believe.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Fu Manchu makes a cupcake out of it.
Oh, okay. Fu Manchu, a local cupcake baker.
Yeah.
The proprietor of Fu Manchu Cupcakes.
Indeed.
Okay, great.
Make some delicious cupcakes. From beer.
Now, Sierra Nevada, where are they from? They're from California. Are they the company that erroneously advertised our new whatever beer is not made at our new North Carolina brewery because we don't have one? It alienated a bunch of North Carolina brewers. Was that Sierra Nevada or was that some other company?
I would like to research that and come up with an editor's note in our second video.
Okay, that sounds great. We'll say it now and do a retraction later.
We might be right later.
Yeah.
Or wrong.
Whoever it was that said that alienated a bunch of people.
Yep.
Because North Carolina, full of beer drinkers.
Yes. Also wine drinkers, because those...
I'm pouring that down the side of the glass as best I can.
That's fine. Those grounds that were fertile for growing tobacco, also great for growing grapes.
That's good.
Oh, yeah.
Alright, so I'm going to give a disclaimer and just say that I'm not a big fan of IPAs. I'm working on it. I know I'm wrong. I've had this one before. It's not terrible. I did drink it on draft the other night because it was cheap.
Okay, and that falls into the cheap beer being your favorite beer. Now you said this is an IPA.
It is.
Okay.
Well, it's the. I'm pretty sure it is.
I wasn't paying attention.
Fresh hop IPA is what it says.
Fresh hop IPA.
Let's see if this says anything else. Okay. We first brewed Celebration IPA in the winter of 1981. Each year we use only the first fresh hops of the growing season to create this complex and robust ale. Layered pine and citrus hop aromas balanced delicately against rich malt sweetness to shape this bold wintertime classic. Right. That was a lot of words, and I've had some beer.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, to establish that we are this is the review show of the people.
Right.
Now you can explain to me, representing the people, what IPA is.
Okay, an IPA is an India Pale Ale, and from what I understand, the history of an India Pale Ale is when they were going to ship their regular pale ales over to India during the, whether you want to call it occupational or colonial period, and they being the British, they, the faceless ones.
The faceless ones behind the house. Yeah.
The white people.
The ones I talk to in the field. So,
the white people.
Anyways.
I went on a vision quest. I had some pale ale.
It's
Spotify.
It's Spotify. They discovered that hops are a preservative, a flavor preservative, and what they would do is they would actually just take a barrel full of hops and then pour the beer into the barrel full of hops to preserve it on the long trip from England to India.
Okay.
And as a result, they had a really, really super ultra hoppy pale ale, and they called that India Pale Ale because
that's where they were going.
That's where they were going.
Gotcha. All right.
Right. Same reason why there's quinine in your tonic water.
I do believe that they had some issues shipping beers previously because they would go bad. So they were trying to come up with a recipe that they could ship over the seas.
That's tasty in an interesting way. What's the IBUs on this one?
I can look it up. I have the internet.
I will say the color's nice.
Yeah.
All right.
It's pretty.
Well, I'm going to guess just based on this. Of course, we promise not to talk too much about IBUs or anything. You taste the bitterness in the
Yeah, that's definitely not my, It's
like having a flower in your mouth, a really bitter flower. Yeah.
A really bitter flower.
Yeah, it's got that back of the throat kind of feel to it.
And I'm okay with that. I've kind of grown to like the familiarity of hops.
Oh, yeah, this is really hoppy.
Yeah.
62!
I was going to guess 75. I was going to guess 75, but 62, that makes sense. Yeah,
this is very hoppy.
Look, I had it after a couple of Purple Hazes the other night. That might have been a mistake. Purple Haze, of course, from Abita, is a raspberry wheat beer.
Hey, we're
transitioning.
Where is it that they make the Abita beers?
They make them in New Orleans.
New Orleans?
From Spring Water.
From Spring Water, New Orleans. You know about New Orleans.
Oh, we know all about Abita down there.
All right, yeah.
They do make an IPA, Giacomo IPA, the New Orleans, the Mardi Gras Native Americans.
Oh, yeah, Giacomo.
Okay, so far my least favorite of the three.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's my personal.
I can understand that you're more of the kind of the target audience that we write these doing these beer reviews for.
We speak these.
Yeah,
speak the truth, man.
We speak the truth.
Someone who hasn't really been exposed to a lot of craft beers, and sometimes
or a lot of craft beer opinions.
And this ties into a funny story I had. I was in Miami for a conference one time, and Miami. You go to Miami, you want to smoke a cigar, and you want to what are the locals smoking? What's popular and stuff. And so I went into a tobacconist. I said, I'd like to get a cigar. What do you recommend? And the person behind the counter said, I don't know. I mean, it's whatever you like. And so, well, what's a good cigar? I said, well, it really depends. What do you like smoking? I said, well, I want to know what everyone, what's popular in Miami for people to smoke. What's your best-selling stuff? What's popular? And he says, there's stuff that's popular, but it really all boils down to what you enjoy. And I went into a pipe tobacconist store one time and talked about pipe tobacco, and they said, you can't do it right or wrong. It's not about, this is real tobacco and that's not real tobacco. And what I hear a lot amongst beer drinkers is talk of what's real beer and what's not real beer. But honestly, what real beer is whatever beer you enjoy drinking. Yeah. If you don't like a specific beer, then, screw it. Don't drink it. Yeah. It's,
However, there was a beer for everyone. I have a friend.
Yes.
And she told me that she doesn't drink beers. She's mostly a vodka cranberry drinker. She doesn't like the bitterness of beer. She doesn't like a lot about beers. That aftertaste she doesn't like. So I went over to her house recently and I said, you know what? I bet you I can find a beer that you'd like.
A beer.
I brought some lighter selections. I brought some shandies from Line and Kugel. I brought a Beat of Purple Haze. I brought a Shock Top Raspberry Wheat. I just brought a selection of beers that are on the lighter end of things. Kind of an intro to beers. But also, stronger in fruit flavors, stronger in flavors that aren't necessarily hops or caramel notes or toasted nuttiness.
Right.
And afterwards, she said, I'm not as afraid of beers anymore.
Right.
I can order these in bars, and I was like, yeah, for the most part, they're available locally. Some of them you can find on draft, some of them not so much, but these are still considered beers, and they're not as scary as such and such IPA.
Yeah, and the thing is in any good bar, you should be able to tell your bartender, this is what I like drinking. If you don't have it, what can you recommend? And you shouldn't end up with a bartender who turns up his nose and says, oh, well, you like,
You know who does a great job of that?
Who's that?
Pizza Peel. On their menu, they have, if you like Michelob Ultra, if you like Bud Light, try this, craft beer. They do a good job of trying to transition that. Right. And they have $3 local pints on Mondays.
$3 local pints on Mondays at Mondays. Pizza. We should tag them in this video.
We should.
Because we just did a shout out. They should give us something. Because
I love pizza.
And when I give them something, I expect something in return. Yeah. So we're into our lightning round. We want to thank you for watching us. Right. This lightning round, what do we do? 30 seconds to talk about.
I'm gonna play fast and loose.
Fast and loose.
We're gonna have some time.
We're gonna have some time to do this. We're gonna say as many clever things, witty things as we can say about a cheap beer, an inexpensive beer, not a cheap beer, but a drinkable beer. And we're starting with Pabst Blue Ribbon because no other.
Where else would you start?
Yeah, no other zip code. That's to say, we're in the
28205. You know where you live.
I just moved here. Come on. 28205.
Months ago. 6 months ago.
Anyways, we consume.
28205 consumes more PBR than any other zip code.
That's true.
So I've heard. That might be a lie.
It didn't surprise Gray.
No, it didn't at all. I mean,
it's
I've lived in the zip code my entire life, and I couldn't be prouder.
All right.
Are we pouring it into cups?
Yep, we're gonna be drinking out of cups.
Drinking out of cups.
Being a bitch.
Being a bitch.
Our timer.
Okay. Ready, set.
Oh, yeah, okay.
We're gonna talk about PBR. They don't just give out those blue ribbons.
No, it tastes like what Budweiser wishes it was.
Because you want your beer to taste like water sometimes.
They say that domestic light beer is like having sex in a canoe. It's fucking near water. That was great.
Often $2.
Just like screwing in a canoe.
You go to the wrong canoes.
Wow.
I'm completely
there's nothing to say about it because there's not much to it. But, it's...
available in 12, 16, or 24-ounce cans. The 24-ounce cans just because you want to carry a beer around all night and have it be flat and warm before the end of the night.
Well, not only that, but it's union made.
Is it?
It is.
It's one of the few things in America that's union made.
Yeah, PBR, union made.
In a place. Milwaukee, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Oh, wow.
Wisconsin.
Land
Cheese.
of bowling alleys,
Cheese and nuts.
Big boobs.
bowling alleys, churches, and bars.
Big boobs.
Slipping and falling on ice.
Cheese.
Cheese.
You can slip and fall on ice in Charlotte.
I have.
Me too.
Much to say, is there?
No, there's not much to it.
You know what? They sponsor the Charlotte Roller Girls.
Oh, they sponsor Charlotte Rebels.
Their chapstick is amazing.
That's great, PBR chapstick. I will say this, however, I may look like a hipster,
But I actually play one on TV.
but I just play one on TV. No, I will say that I don't always drink beer like a hipster, but when I do, I drink PBR. Okay, great. So we want to thank you for watching Beer Reviews with Matt Stash,
And Rita and
as well as our special guest here, Mr. Gray Revell of Gray Revell's Roman Candles.
Thank you for choking down some beer for us.
Thank you. It was
Yes,
great
I know
to be
you're not a
here.
beer drinker, but thank you for participating.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
Okay, great. Thank you, and look forward to our next episode where we do something very similar and possibly with better lighting.
Maybe indoors.
Maybe indoors.
A little warmer. That'd
I'm
be nice.
outdoorsy in that I like to get drunk outdoors.